Kai adjusted his helmet as the small spacecraft descended toward Zelera. The planet glowed under twin suns, painting the sky in shades of gold and green. He had studied the planet for months, reading every report from previous probes, but nothing compared to seeing it with his own eyes. The landing zone was a vast plain filled with strange plants that shimmered in the sunlight. Some were tall and thin, like glass towers swaying in a gentle wind. Others were low and round, glowing softly as if lit from inside. Kai stepped out of his spacecraft, his boots sinking slightly into the soft, sponge-like ground. The air was breathable, but it smelled unlike anything on Earth, a mixture of sweet flowers and minerals. Kai carried a small pack on his back. Inside were the essentials, a translator device, a few rations, some scanning tools, and a notebook. But the most important thing he carried was the flower he had discovered earlier in a hidden grove near the landing zone. It was a rare flower, glowing faintly with silver light, with petals delicate as silk. Scientists on Earth had called it the impossible bloom because nothing like it had been seen before. Kai had picked it carefully, hoping it might serve as a gift or symbol of peace if he met any intelligent life. He looked at the horizon and saw the massive palace of the alien queen, Viralaya. It was built on a high plateau, made of crystal-like material that reflected the sun in thousands of colors. Strange towers spiraled upward, and bridges connected parts of the palace that seemed to float in the air. Kai felt a mixture of awe and nervousness. The reports had warned him, Viralaya rarely allowed outsiders near her. Those who did meet her were usually warriors or diplomats. Kai took a deep breath. "I have to be careful," he whispered to himself. "But I must try. This could change everything." As he approached the palace, he noticed alien creatures moving in the fields. Some had long legs and glimmering wings, others moved on multiple limbs, carrying objects that seemed too heavy for their bodies. They did not attack him, but Kai kept his hands visible and moved slowly. He wanted to show that he came in peace. Finally, he reached a large bridge leading to the palace gates. Two guards stood there, taller than any human, with armor that shone like polished metal. Their eyes glowed faintly, and they carried long, sleek weapons that Kai could not identify. The guards did not speak but watched him carefully. Kai stopped a few feet away. He raised his hands slightly, showing he carried nothing dangerous. Then he pulled out the glowing flower and held it gently in front of him. "I bring a gift," he said clearly, hoping the translator would work. The device on his chest hummed softly, converting his words into the alien language. The guards looked at each other and then back at Kai. One of them stepped forward and spoke in a voice that sounded like soft chimes. The translator translated, "Why do you approach the queen, human? No outsider may enter without permission." Kai bowed respectfully. "I mean no harm. I bring a gift, a single flower from your land. I wish only to show respect and goodwill." The guards studied him silently for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, the gate slowly opened. Kai felt his heart race. This was his only chance. He walked carefully across the bridge. Each step made a soft humming sound, as if the palace itself was alive. He could see the inner courtyard now, filled with more alien plants and flowing streams of water that sparkled like liquid crystals. Birds or bird-like creatures flew overhead, their wings leaving trails of light. Kai could hardly believe his eyes. Everything was so beautiful, so alive. At the center of the courtyard stood Viralaya. She was taller than any human, her skin a soft shade of blue, and her eyes deep and shining like polished gemstones. She wore a long robe made of material that seemed to float around her. Around her stood several advisors, each observing Kai quietly. Kai slowed his steps and lowered himself into a bow. The flower in his hand glowed softly, reflecting the sunlight. "I bring this to you, Queen Viralaya," he said with a calm voice. "It is a gift, a token of respect from one species to another. I hope it may show that humans come in peace." The queen tilted her head slightly, studying him. Her gaze was intense but not unkind. She stepped closer, and the air around her seemed to shimmer. "Why do you come, human?" she asked, her voice like music yet carrying strength. "Many have tried to reach me. Few succeed. What makes you different?" Kai straightened. "I have come not for power, not for riches, and not to take anything. I have come because I believe that life is valuable in all its forms. I want to learn, to understand, and to share knowledge. And I offer this flower as proof that I come sincerely." Viralaya looked at the flower carefully. Her eyes widened slightly, as if she had never seen anything like it. The flower's glow reflected in her eyes. She studied Kai for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Finally, she spoke again. "You have courage to approach me with nothing but a gift. Many would try to bribe or threaten. You have done neither. This is unusual. It is worth watching." Kai felt a small wave of relief. He had survived the first step, but he knew the trials were only beginning. Still, he smiled slightly. He had offered something small, something simple, and it had been noticed. The queen's advisors whispered among themselves, their voices a soft hum in the courtyard. Kai could not understand their language, but he felt their curiosity and surprise. They had never seen a human act this way. Viralaya raised her hand slightly, and the guards stepped back. "Stay here, human. We shall see if your heart is as strong as your courage." Kai nodded, holding the flower carefully. He had passed the first test, getting the queen's attention and respect. But he also knew this was just the beginning. Zilara was full of challenges, and the queen was not easily impressed. Kai took a deep breath and looked around the courtyard. The alien plants swayed gently, the streams of crystal water sparkled, and the creatures moved with quiet grace. He realized that he was standing at the edge of a new world, one that could change the way humans were seen across the stars. And he held in his hands a single flower that might just be the key to everything. Kai whispered softly to himself, "I will do my best. I will honor this moment. I will show them what humans can be." With courage and hope, Kai prepared for whatever came next, knowing that this was the first step in a journey that could change both his life and the fate of Zilara forever. Kai stood in the courtyard, holding the glowing flower carefully. The alien creatures moved around him, but none approached. The air was still, except for the soft hum of the streams and the gentle rustle of the plants. He could feel the gaze of Queen Viralaya on him, sharp and unyielding, as if she were reading not just his words but his very thoughts. The queen finally stepped forward, her presence commanding yet calm. Her eyes, deep and shining like gemstones, studied him with intensity. She circled him slowly, her movements fluid and graceful, as if she were dancing in the sunlight. Kai tried to remain still, keeping the flower steady in his hands. He knew any sudden movement might be misread. "You have brought a gift," she said, her voice melodic but firm. "A flower. Many would not dare approach me at all, and fewer still would bring something so delicate. Why do you choose this, human?" Kai swallowed, keeping his voice steady. "It is rare. I found it growing alone in a hidden grove. I thought it might show respect. I wanted to give something unique, something from your world, to show that I do not come with weapons or demands. Only goodwill. Viralaya paused and looked closely at the flower. The glow of the petals reflected in her eyes, making them seem even brighter. Most outsiders think of power, strength, or control. You think of beauty and respect. This is unusual. Kai felt a flicker of hope. I believe all life has value, he said. And I believe understanding and friendship are stronger than fear or force. I hope this can be the beginning of something good between us. The queen studied him for a long moment. Then she spoke again, her voice low and serious. Your words are honest, but words alone are not enough. Your heart and mind must be tested. Only then will I know if your intentions are true. Kai nodded. He had expected trials, but hearing it directly from the queen made his stomach tighten. I understand, Your Majesty. I am ready to face whatever you ask. Viralaya motioned, and two of her advisors stepped forward. They were tall, elegant beings with eyes that reflected light like mirrors. One held a tablet-like device, while the other carried a small orb that pulsed gently. The queen spoke to them in her language, and Kai's translator hummed softly, converting it into words he could understand. The human will face the test of intent, the translator said. He must prove courage, wisdom, and compassion before the queen. Kai took a deep breath. I will do my best, he said quietly to himself. The advisors led him to a chamber that opened from the courtyard. Inside, the walls glowed softly with shifting colors. Strange symbols moved across the walls like living writing. At the center of the room, a small platform hovered above the ground. Step onto the platform, one of the advisors instructed. Kai obeyed, feeling the gentle pull of gravity adjusting beneath his feet. The platform rose slowly into the air, giving him a view of the entire chamber. You will face 3 trials, the advisor explained. Each tests a part of your character. The first is courage. The platform stopped above a pit that stretched far below. Floating platforms moved in the air across the gap, some wide and steady, others thin and unstable. Kai understood immediately, he had to cross. Kai stepped carefully onto the first platform. It was steady. The second moved slightly as he walked, wobbling under his weight. He focused on each step, keeping his balance, his heart beating fast. Midway, a platform tilted sharply, threatening to send him falling into the abyss. Kai's hands reached for balance, and he adjusted quickly. He remembered the flower in his pack, imagining the courage it had taken him to bring it to the queen. Slowly, he moved across the platforms, careful but determined. Finally, he reached the far side. He exhaled deeply, feeling a rush of pride. The first trial was complete. The platform lowered him to another part of the chamber. Here, a strange puzzle awaited. Holographic shapes floated in the air, forming patterns that shifted constantly. A voice echoed in the room. To pass this trial, you must arrange the shapes so that they fit together in harmony. Only wisdom and observation will succeed. Kai studied the shapes carefully. Each one seemed alive, moving slightly as he tried to place it. He noticed that some shapes responded to gentle touches, others required precise alignment. He took his time, observing the patterns and thinking through each move. After several minutes, the shapes clicked into place, forming a beautiful design that glowed brightly. The room lit up, and a soft chime echoed. Kai felt a sense of accomplishment. The trial of wisdom was complete. The final trial awaited him. The floor opened to reveal a small chamber filled with alien creatures, injured and frightened. Some had wings that were broken, others limped or trembled. A voice said, "Show compassion. Heal, comfort, or guide them safely." Kai approached carefully. He used his translator device to understand their cries. He gently lifted one of the smaller creatures, using his medkit to stabilize its wing. He guided others to safe corners, speaking softly, calming them with gentle words. His hands and heart moved with care, as if each creature were as important as a human life. Hours seemed to pass, but Kai did not stop. Finally, the creatures were safe, calm, and even moving freely within the chamber. The glowing walls pulsed in approval, and the advisors nodded in respect. Kai fell to his knees, exhausted but relieved. The flower he had carried now seemed like a symbol of all he had done, small gestures leading to greater trust. A deep voice filled the chamber, resonant and commanding. "Human, you have shown courage, wisdom, and compassion. Few have faced these trials, and fewer still have succeeded. You have proven that your heart is true." Kai looked up and saw Queen Viralaya standing before him, her expression unreadable yet softer than before. "I have watched you closely. Your actions show more than words ever could. You are different from those who come seeking power or advantage. You offer respect, kindness, and understanding." Kai straightened, feeling a mixture of pride and humility. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only wish to honor your people and your world." The Queen nodded slowly. "Then you may stay. But know this: these trials are only the beginning. Zelara is full of challenges, and many will test you. If you succeed, you will show the true strength of your species. If you fail, the consequences may be severe. Choose your actions carefully." Kai nodded again, feeling both the weight and the honor of the moment. He had passed the first trials, but the journey was far from over. The Queen had noticed him, and now he had a chance to make a real difference, not just for himself, but for humans and Zelara alike. As he left the chamber, he held the glowing flower close. It had brought him here, and it would remind him of the courage and care he needed for the trials ahead. Kai knew that his journey on Zelara had truly begun, and that every choice he made from this point on could change the future of two worlds forever. Kai stepped out of the trial chamber, his legs tired but his spirit strong. The soft glow of the courtyard greeted him as he returned. The flower in his hand pulsed faintly, like it was alive, and Kai smiled. It had guided him through the trials so far, and now he understood that the Queen's tests were not just challenges, they were lessons. Queen Viralaya waited for him near a tall crystal fountain. Water sparkled as it moved in unusual patterns, bending in shapes that defied Earth physics. The Queen's advisors whispered among themselves, but when Kai approached, they fell silent. The Queen's eyes glimmered with curiosity. "You have passed the first trials," Viralaya said softly. "Few outsiders possess the qualities required to reach this point. But understanding requires more than courage, wisdom, and compassion. It requires connection. You must learn to see the world through our eyes." Kai bowed slightly. "I wish to learn, Your Majesty. I want to understand your people and your world." The Queen nodded. "Then I will give you the opportunity. For the next cycle of Zelara's sons, you will live among my people. Observe them, speak with them, and offer help where you can. Show respect, and they will respond. Show arrogance or fear, and they will reject you." Kai's heart raced. Living among an alien species was the chance of a lifetime, but it would not be easy. Still, he felt ready. "I understand," he said. "I will do my best." An advisor approached, holding a small device that projected images into the air. "These are the sectors where you will work," the advisor explained. "Each has different customs and challenges. Begin with the Gardens of Lumen, then proceed to the river halls, and finally to the sky bridges. Help where you can. Learn where you must. The Queen will observe your progress." Kai nodded, mentally preparing himself. He first walked toward the Gardens of Lumen. These gardens were enormous, filled with plants that changed color based on the emotions of those nearby. Kai watched as a plant's petals shifted from blue to gold when a small creature approached. It was mesmerizing. He realized that he had to move carefully, respecting both the flora and the creatures living there. A group of small alien beings appeared near him, their limbs delicate and their eyes wide. They were harvesting the glowing fruits of a tall tree, but they struggled to reach the higher branches. Kai hesitated only briefly before offering help. Using his height and hands, he carefully reached the branches, lowering the fruits for the smaller beings. The creatures squeaked in delight, their gestures showing gratitude. Kai smiled, feeling a warm connection. Though their language was strange, their actions spoke clearly. Helping them was simple, but it mattered. Throughout the day, Kai moved through the gardens, assisting wherever he could. He helped a creature untangle its wing, guided another safely across a narrow ledge, and even used his translator to communicate gentle words to those who were frightened. Each act earned subtle nods or gestures of respect. Kai began to notice that the flower in his hand glowed brighter when he acted with kindness. By the second cycle of Zilara's sons, Kai had gained small trust from the garden dwellers. A few even approached him freely, offering fruits or leading him to hidden areas of the garden. Kai realized that patience and respect were key. He could not force trust, he could only earn it. Next, Kai moved to the river halls, a vast network of waterways and floating platforms where the alien people conducted trade and communal work. Here, he saw another side of Zilara. Creatures bartered for rare minerals, taught younglings to navigate the waters, and maintain the floating gardens that line the river. Kai offered help again. He assisted in carrying water containers, repaired a broken bridge, and even used simple tools to guide a watercraft safely through rapids. The aliens observed him closely, watching not only his actions but his reactions. Kai understood quickly that every choice mattered. Small mistakes could create distrust, while thoughtful actions could inspire confidence. One evening, as the twin suns began to set, Kai was approached by a small alien child. Its eyes were bright and curious, and it extended a delicate hand toward him. Kai knelt and gently took the child's hand. Using gestures and his translator, he learned that the child wished to explore a nearby floating island but was afraid. Kai smiled gently. "I will help you," he said. Carefully, he guided the child across the river platforms, pointing out safe spots and holding it close when needed. By the time they reached the island, the child was smiling, fearless in its newfound trust. Kai felt a warmth in his chest, realizing that empathy could bridge worlds in ways technology could not. Finally, Kai moved to the sky bridges, a high-altitude network of walkways that connected the palace to distant towers. Here, creatures specialized in communication and observation. They watched the skies for storms, sent messages across the planet, and maintained delicate equipment. Kai worked alongside them, learning their methods and helping with repairs. He observed the ways they solved problems, noticed patterns in their work, and even suggested a few ideas inspired by human engineering. The creatures were cautious at first, but gradually, they accepted his presence. By the end of his time on the sky bridges, he had not only learned about their work but also earned their respect. Throughout these days, Queen Viralaya observed quietly. She watched how Kai treated her people, how he responded to challenges, and how he made decisions. His actions, small yet consistent, reflected honesty and care. The advisors whispered, noting the unusual human ability to adapt quickly, show empathy, and think creatively under pressure. Kai also noticed subtle changes in himself. He was learning patience, humility, and the importance of listening. Zilara was teaching him, just as he hoped to teach her people a little about humans. By the end of the cycle, he understood that true connection was not about proving strength or knowledge but about building trust through consistent, thoughtful actions. On the last evening, Kai stood again in the palace courtyard. The glowing flower he had carried for so long now seemed almost luminous, as if it had absorbed the trust and respect he had earned. Queen Viralaya approached him quietly, her expression calm and thoughtful. "You have spent time with my people," she said. "You have acted with respect, courage, and understanding. You have not sought power or recognition. You have only offered yourself, and in doing so, you have earned trust." Kai bowed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I have learned much, and I hope I have honored your people and your world." Viralaya nodded, her eyes reflecting the soft light of the courtyard. "This is only the beginning. Greater challenges await, but now you have the foundation. Trust has been built. That is stronger than any weapon, stronger than any strategy. If you continue with this heart, you may prove humanity is worthy of respect among the stars." Kai smiled softly, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had passed more than trials, he had built connections that mattered. And now, he was ready for whatever came next on Zilara. Kai had grown comfortable among the people of Zilara. He had walked the gardens of Lumen, the river halls, and the sky bridges. He had learned their ways, helped their communities, and earned their trust. Yet, despite this peace, a sense of unease lingered in the air. The winds carried whispers from the distant mountains, and shadows moved in places where sunlight should have reached. One morning, while Kai assisted in repairing a bridge on the sky bridges, a messenger arrived. The creature, small but swift, carried a crystal device that projected glowing symbols into the air. The symbols translated instantly through Kai's translator. "A rival faction approaches," the device announced. "They intend to claim the resources of Zilara and overthrow Queen Viralaya. Immediate action is required." Kai's heart quickened. "How many?" he asked the messenger. "Too many to count easily," the translator said. "They move with speed and force. Their strategy is unknown. The Queen calls for assistance from all able beings." Kai knew this was more than a challenge, it was a test of everything he had learned. Courage, wisdom, and compassion would be necessary, but strategy and quick thinking would now matter even more. He ran toward the Queen's palace, the glowing flower in his hand, though its light seemed dim compared to the urgency he felt. Queen Viralaya awaited him in the central hall. Her blue skin shimmered under the soft lights of the crystal walls. Her eyes were steady, but Kai could sense the tension beneath her calm exterior. "They come from the shadow peaks," Viralaya said, her voice strong but measured. "They have no respect for life and will take what they desire. You have learned much from my people, human. Will you help us now? Will you use what you have learned to protect Zilara?" Kai nodded firmly. "Yes, Your Majesty. I will help. Tell me what I must do." Viralaya gestured to a large map projected in the air. It showed Zilara's valleys, rivers, and strategic locations. Tiny markers represented the incoming forces. Kai studied the map carefully. Unlike Earth, Zilara's terrain was full of floating islands, moving streams, and forests that shifted slightly with the wind. But Kai could see patterns, potential ambush points, and safe zones. "We will defend our key locations," Viralaya said. "But we must also protect civilians. Many are not trained for combat. We need a strategy that balances defense and safety." Kai took a deep breath. He began pointing out positions on the map. "We can use the floating platforms as barriers. They are difficult to cross quickly, and the invaders will not expect us to block paths midair. We can also set up signals using the crystal devices from the sky bridges to coordinate our forces. I can guide patrols to guard the civilians and lead them to safe zones along the rivers. If we act quickly and think creatively, we can defend without unnecessary losses." The Queen's advisors whispered among themselves, impressed by the human's calm and clear thinking. Viralaya studied Kai for a long moment. "Your plan shows both understanding and compassion. Most outsiders focus only on force. You consider life and strategy equally. Begin your actions." Kai immediately sprang into motion. He divided the local defenders into small groups, showing them how to use floating platforms to block paths and create defensive positions. He guided patrols along the river halls, ensuring civilians could move to safety. He explained signaling patterns to the sky bridge watchers, using simple gestures and glowing crystals to communicate across distances. Hours passed quickly as the invaders arrived. Dark shapes moved over the mountains, approaching Zilara with speed. Kai watched from a high platform, coordinating defenses. When the first waves reached the floating platforms, they found them unexpectedly blocked and difficult to navigate. Some invaders stumbled, giving the defenders a chance to respond strategically. Kai's heart pounded as he moved between positions. He helped creatures lift barriers, guided patrols to reinforce weak points, and used his knowledge of Zilara's terrain to predict where the invaders would strike next. Each decision required focus and courage, but Kai relied on everything he had learned while living among the people of Zilara. At one point, a group of invaders tried to sneak along a river path where civilians were crossing. Kai noticed them just in time. He quickly directed defenders to form a protective line and used simple human techniques to create obstacles that slowed the invaders. The civilians moved safely to higher ground. For the first time, some of the alien observers began to cheer quietly, seeing a human act with clarity and bravery. As the battle continued, Kai also showed compassion. He helped injured creatures, offering guidance and first aid. He encouraged defenders who were afraid, reminding them to stay calm and focus on what they could do. The invaders were strong, but Kai's combination of strategy, empathy, and courage began to turn the tide. Queen Viralaya watched from above, her expression unreadable at first. Slowly, she nodded. "This human shows qualities we rarely see among outsiders," she said to her advisors. "Strength alone is not enough. Wisdom, courage, and care for life are equally important." By the end of the cycle, the invaders were repelled. They retreated toward the shadow peaks, confused and frustrated by the unexpected defense. Zilara's people cheered, grateful for Kai's guidance and calm leadership. The queen descended to the courtyard, her presence as commanding as ever. "You have done well, human," she said, her voice steady but filled with respect. "Your actions saved lives and protected Zilara. You did not rely on brute force alone. You used understanding, strategy, and care. My people speak of your deeds already. You have shown the true value of humanity." Kai bowed, exhausted but proud. Thank you, Your Majesty. I only tried to help with what I had learned from your people. Viralaya studied him quietly. You have shown much already, and yet more challenges will come. The galaxy is not always so kind, and those who do not understand may test us again. But you have proven that a human's courage and mind can make a difference. That is a rare gift. Kai felt a sense of deep purpose. He had not just survived, he had contributed in ways that mattered. Zelara's people were safe, and trust had been strengthened. The Queen's acknowledgement filled him with hope and determination. That night, Kai walked among the glowing fields near the palace. The flower in his hand pulsed softly, reflecting the successes of the day. Creatures approached him freely, no longer cautious, but friendly and trusting. Kai realized that courage and compassion, combined with clear thinking, could achieve more than weapons alone. He whispered softly to himself, "This is only the beginning. Zelara has much to teach me, and I have much to offer. I will continue to protect and understand. I will honor this world and its people." Above him, the twin suns set, casting golden light across the landscape. Kai looked toward the distant mountains, knowing that challenges would return. But for now, Zelara was safe, and the human in him had earned a place of respect among the stars. After the battle with the invaders, Kai felt a mixture of relief and determination. Zelara was safe for now, but he knew that protecting the planet required more than courage in a single moment. He had to build stronger bonds with the people and gain their trust not only for defense but for unity. Queen Viralaya summoned Kai to her palace once more. Her crystal robe shimmered under the sunlight, and her eyes held a calm authority that made Kai feel both nervous and honored. "You have proven your courage and strategy," she said. "But Zelara thrives on cooperation and understanding. You must now help us strengthen the bonds among our people. This is not about force. This is about respect, empathy, and leadership." Kai nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will do my best." Viralaya guided him to a large hall filled with alien leaders and representatives from different sectors of Zelara. Some were tall and elegant, others short with many limbs, and their forms were as varied as their cultures. The hall itself was alive with soft light, glowing panels shifting colors as if listening to the voices within. Kai looked around. It was clear that each group had its own traditions and ways of thinking. Some had barely spoken since arriving. Others seemed skeptical of the human visitor standing among them. "The people of Zelara are strong, but they are divided," Viralaya said. "Old disagreements linger. You must help them see that cooperation brings strength. If you succeed, Zelara will be ready for future threats and challenges." Kai took a deep breath and stepped forward. He began by speaking slowly, using the translator device. "I have spent time in your gardens, rivers, and bridges. I have seen your skills, your care, and your wisdom. Each of you is important, and each of you can help one another. Together, you are stronger than you are alone." At first, there was silence. Then a few leaders spoke softly, sharing their concerns. Some worried that cooperation could weaken their individual sectors. Others feared that outsiders, even Kai, might not understand their ways. Kai listened carefully, nodding and acknowledging each concern. "I do not seek to change your traditions or take your choices. I only hope to help you see that working together can protect what you love. I have seen it in my own world. Humans are not perfect, but we have learned that respect and collaboration often achieve more than conflict." Slowly, the leaders began to engage. Kai encouraged small discussions, pairing leaders from different sectors to solve simple problems together. At first, it was awkward. Cultural differences caused misunderstandings, and some leaders argued. Kai remained patient, mediating carefully, pointing out common goals, and celebrating each small success. By the end of the day, the leaders were speaking more freely. They laughed at small mistakes, shared ideas, and even complimented each other's unique skills. Kai realized that respect and trust were spreading. It was not immediate, but it was beginning. In the following days, Kai traveled across Zilura with small groups of leaders. They visited villages, assisted with daily tasks, and shared their experiences. Kai encouraged them to observe the value in each culture, teaching that empathy and cooperation could solve problems that force could not. During one visit to a remote river village, Kai helped a young alien inventor test a new watercraft design. The design had flaws that caused instability, and the inventor was frustrated. Kai carefully pointed out adjustments, explaining step by step. Together, they fixed the design, and the river village cheered as the watercraft floated safely. The inventor's eyes shone with pride, and Kai smiled, seeing the power of teaching and collaboration. In another village, Kai helped coordinate a harvest festival. He used his knowledge from Earth to organize work teams, ensuring that each creature contributed based on their strengths. While the aliens were initially skeptical of his ideas, they soon noticed that his guidance made the festival smoother and more enjoyable. By the end, everyone celebrated together, their differences no longer barriers but strengths. Even among the Sky Bridge workers, Kai found ways to strengthen bonds. He helped train young scouts in observation and communication, teaching simple methods that improved efficiency without changing traditions. Older workers began mentoring the younger ones, and a sense of shared pride and purpose began to form. Throughout these days, Queen Viralaya watched quietly. She observed Kai's methods, his patience, and his ability to connect with creatures of all types. Her advisors noted that the human's approach was unusual yet effective. He did not demand obedience. He did not seek control. He led through understanding and respect. One evening, after a long day of visits, Kai returned to the palace courtyard. The twin suns were setting, casting soft golden light across the gardens. The flower in his hand glowed faintly, reflecting the trust and progress he had helped nurture. Viralaya approached him, her expression calm but thoughtful. "You have done well, Kai. Your efforts have united many who were once divided. You have not forced them, but you have shown them a path of cooperation and respect. That is a true strength, more powerful than any weapon." Kai bowed, humbled by her words. "I only followed what I have learned from your people, your majesty. They have shown me trust, and I wanted to honor it." The queen's eyes softened. Trust is fragile, but it can grow strong with patience and care. You have proven that humans can inspire unity, even in a world unlike their own. This is rare. This is valuable. You must continue, for challenges will come, and the bonds you have strengthened will be tested. Kai nodded, understanding the weight of her words. He realized that his journey was not only about earning respect or surviving trials, it was about creating lasting connections that could endure future struggles. He had seen the strength of Zilura's people, and now he had helped them see the strength in one another. That night, Kai walked through the glowing gardens. Small creatures approached him freely, chirping softly, and even the larger beings nodded in greeting. The flower in his hand seemed to pulse brighter than ever, a symbol of the trust, care, and connection he had helped foster. Kai whispered to himself, "This is the heart of Zilura. Courage and skill are important, but understanding and trust will carry us farther than anything else. I will continue to learn, to teach, and to protect." Above him, the twin suns dipped below the horizon, and the sky glimmered with the first stars of Zilara's night. Kai felt a sense of hope and purpose stronger than ever before. He knew that the bonds he had helped strengthen would be the key to protecting the planet, its people, and the trust he had worked so hard to earn. The palace of Zilara glowed under the light of the twin suns as Kai approached the central hall. Word of his deeds had spread quickly. Stories of his courage, wisdom, and care were spoken among the people of the planet, from the gardens of Lumen to the sky bridges. Even the advisors who had once been skeptical watched him with growing respect. Kai felt both pride and humility. He had done what he could to help, but he knew the true test was not over. Queen Viralaya had asked much of him, and now he sensed that something even more significant awaited. The queen stood at the highest balcony, overlooking the courtyard. Her robes shimmered, reflecting the sunlight in colors Kai had never seen before. She turned her gaze toward him, her eyes calm but piercing, as if she could see into the depths of his heart. "Kai," she said, her voice both firm and gentle, "you have spent time among my people. You have guided them, helped them, and inspired trust. You have faced challenges with courage, wisdom, and compassion. Now, it is time to see if your heart is ready for a greater responsibility." Kai bowed. "I am ready, Your Majesty. I will do whatever is needed to serve Zilara and your people." Viralaya studied him carefully. "Your actions have proven much, but one quality remains to be observed: your willingness to act not for reward or recognition, but for the good of others. You have led, helped, and protected. Yet leadership is more than action, it is selflessness and understanding." Kai nodded. He felt the weight of her words. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will act with the best intentions for your people and your world." The queen gestured, and the courtyard below transformed. Creatures from all sectors of Zilara gathered. Some were children, others elders. Some were from the rivers, some from the skies. Each looked toward Kai, their eyes filled with curiosity, trust, or hope. "This is your final observation," Viralaya said. "Interact with my people. Show that you are capable not only of action but of connection, of understanding the needs of all beings. If your heart is true, all will see it. And then I will make my decision." Kai stepped forward carefully. He greeted each group respectfully, offering kind words and listening attentively. He helped a young alien repair a broken tool, guided a lost child back to its family, and shared knowledge from Earth to solve small problems in creative ways. Everywhere he went, the creatures responded. They trusted him, not out of fear, but because of the consistency of his actions. One elder, a creature with many limbs and soft blue skin, approached him. "Human," it said, "you have walked among us. You have learned our ways and still stayed true to yourself. You are not like the others who have come before. They sought only power or advantage. You seek understanding." Kai bowed respectfully. "I only wish to honor your people and your world. I have learned from you all, and I hope to help wherever I can." The elder nodded. "Then the queen's judgment will be wise. She watches not just your deeds but your heart." As the day passed, Kai continued to move among the people. He organized games for the children to teach teamwork, helped the elders carry heavy objects, and advised workers on how to improve their systems without changing their traditions. His actions were simple, yet they reflected care, thoughtfulness, and respect. Queen Viralaya observed quietly from her balcony. She had seen many outsiders, many leaders, and many warriors, but few had approached her people with the balance of humility, courage, and intelligence that Kai displayed. Even her advisors whispered among themselves, noting that human qualities were rare and valuable. As the twin suns began to set, Viralaya descended into the courtyard. Her presence silenced the murmurs of the crowd. The creatures fell still, awaiting her words. Kai stood straight, holding the glowing flower in his hands, its light reflecting the growing anticipation. Kai, the queen said, her voice clear and strong, you have shown all that is required. You have acted with courage in danger, wisdom in decision-making, and compassion in every interaction. You have guided my people without arrogance, and you have respected the life and traditions of Zilara. Your heart is true. Kai felt a warmth in his chest, a mix of pride and humility. Thank you, Your Majesty. I only wish to serve and protect. Viralaya raised her hand slightly. And for this, you are the first human I have ever recognized as my chosen one. You are not my ruler, and you do not seek my throne. But you are my partner in guiding this world. Your actions, your heart, and your understanding make you worthy of this honor. The crowd erupted in soft cheers, not loud but full of respect and admiration. Creatures approached Kai, offering gestures of goodwill, and he responded with the same humility that had earned their trust. Viralaya stepped closer to him. The title of Chosen One carries responsibility. You will guide, protect, and learn. You will act with integrity and continue to inspire trust among my people. If you accept this role, you will be recognized not as an outsider, but as a true ally of Zilara. Kai bowed deeply. I accept, Your Majesty. I will honor this trust, protect your people, and continue to learn. I will not fail you. Viralaya smiled faintly, a rare expression that carried warmth and approval. Then let it be known, she said, raising her hand. Kai, human of Earth, you are my chosen one. You will walk among us, guide us, and represent the virtues that make your species worthy among the stars. The flower in Kai's hand glowed brighter than ever, as if it shared in the celebration. He felt a mixture of joy, humility, and determination. He understood that this honor was not about power or fame. It was about trust, responsibility, and the chance to make a real difference. The crowd began to chant in their melodic language, a sound that Kai could not fully understand, but he felt its meaning. It was a song of respect, trust, and hope. Creatures of all shapes and sizes bowed toward him, recognizing the bond he had built with them. Kai looked at the queen. I will do my best to honor this world and your people. I will continue to learn, to guide, and to protect. Viralaya nodded. Your journey is just beginning. Challenges will come, but now you are ready. Zilara has seen your heart, and so have I. Together, we will build a future where understanding, courage, and wisdom guide us all. Kai smiled softly. The responsibility was great, but he felt prepared. He had come to Zilara with a single flower, a small gesture of goodwill, and now he had been recognized as the chosen one. He understood that true recognition was earned through action, care, and understanding. As night fell and the stars of Zilara shimmered above, Kai held the glowing flower and looked at the queen. He knew that their journey together would not be easy, but he also knew that trust, courage, and compassion could achieve extraordinary things. Kai whispered to himself, I will honor this trust. I will protect Zilara. I will show what humans can be. The queen watched silently, a faint smile on her lips. She knew that Zilara's future was brighter with this human by her side, a being whose heart and courage had already proven invaluable. Kai stood on the highest balcony of the palace, looking over the sprawling world of Zilara. The twin suns cast a golden glow across the fields, rivers, and floating islands. The creatures he had come to know and respect moved freely below, living and working together in harmony. It was a sight he had helped create, and it filled him with pride and humility. Queen Viralaya approached silently. Her presence was calm yet commanding, her eyes reflecting the light of the setting suns. "Kai," she said, her voice steady, "the people of Zelara have accepted you. Your actions, your heart, and your guidance have earned not only my respect but their trust. This is the beginning of a new era for our world." Kai bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I could not have done this alone. Your people have taught me as much as I have helped them. Together, we have built something meaningful." Viralaya nodded. "And now, we must ensure that it continues. The bond between humans and Zelara is new, but it has the potential to strengthen both our worlds. You, Kai, will guide this partnership. You will help my people grow, and you will continue to show the virtues that make your species exceptional." Kai felt the weight of her words. Being the chosen one was no longer just an honor, it was responsibility. He had guided, protected, and inspired, but now he had to sustain progress and ensure lasting unity. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will dedicate myself to this role. I will continue to learn, to help, and to protect." Viralaya extended her hand, and Kai stepped forward. When their hands met, a subtle light shimmered between them, a symbol of trust and partnership. "Then let our work begin," she said. "Zelara is ready for a new era, and you are part of that vision." The next days were filled with planning and collaboration. Kai worked closely with leaders from all regions of Zelara, helping them design systems for communication, defense, and resource management. He encouraged cultural exchanges, teaching customs, and sharing knowledge from Earth while learning about their traditions. In the gardens of Lumen, Kai helped develop programs where young creatures could learn the importance of caring for the environment. He guided them in planting and harvesting, emphasizing teamwork and respect for life. The glowing plants seemed to respond to their efforts, growing stronger and more vibrant as cooperation flourished. Along the river halls, Kai worked with artisans and engineers. He suggested improvements that enhanced efficiency without replacing traditions. Floating platforms were maintained with careful adjustments, and watercraft were optimized for safety and speed. The creatures responded eagerly, appreciating Kai's thoughtful approach and his respect for their methods. High above, on the sky bridges, Kai trained scouts and messengers in advanced observation and communication techniques. He taught them strategies that relied on clever planning rather than force. The creatures learned quickly, and their confidence grew. Kai realized that leadership was not about giving orders but about empowering others to succeed. One evening, as Kai rested in the palace courtyard, a group of younglings approached him. They had bright eyes and eager expressions, full of curiosity and trust. They handed him small gifts, flowers, crystals, and hand-carved tokens. Kai smiled, touched by their gesture. "You remind me why all of this matters," he said softly. "You are the future of Zelara, and I will do everything I can to help you grow." The younglings laughed and ran off, their joy spreading through the courtyard. Kai realized that the simple acts of teaching, guiding, and caring could leave a lasting impact far beyond any battle or trial. Queen Viralaya joined him quietly. "You have done more than earn respect," she said. "You have inspired hope. Zelara has seen what a human can be: courageous, wise, compassionate, and humble. You have shown that strength is not only in force but in understanding and empathy." Kai looked at her with gratitude. "I only wanted to honor your people and your world. I hope I have succeeded." Viralaya smiled faintly. "You have done more than succeed. You have set an example. Others will follow your guidance, and future humans who visit Zilura will be judged not by fear but by the legacy you have created. The next weeks were filled with celebrations. Festivals were organized to honor unity, not victory. The floating islands and rivers were filled with music, laughter, and cooperation. Creatures from all corners of Zilura joined together, sharing their skills, foods, and stories. Kai moved among them, helping, observing, and learning. During one festival, Kai noticed a young alien child struggling to reach a high branch to harvest glowing fruits. Without hesitation, he lifted the child gently, guiding them to the top safely. The child's eyes sparkled with joy, and the creatures nearby cheered quietly. Kai realized that these small, thoughtful actions could inspire as much as leadership or strategy. Even the queen participated, walking among her people with Kai by her side. Together, they symbolized partnership between human and Zilura, a bond built on trust, respect, and shared responsibility. One quiet evening, Kai stood alone on the palace balcony, looking out at the glowing landscapes. The flower in his hand pulsed softly, its light reflecting the harmony that had grown throughout the planet. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had come to Zilura as a visitor, a human with a single flower, and now he was part of something much greater, a new era of unity, respect, and hope. Viralaya appeared beside him silently. Kai, she said softly, you have proven that a single person, with courage and care, can change the future of an entire world. Zilura is stronger, safer, and wiser because of you. Kai nodded. I could not have done it without your guidance or the trust of your people. I have learned so much from Zilura. I only hope that I can continue to honor this world. The queen smiled, her eyes reflecting the twin suns now setting in the distance. You will. And through your actions, other worlds may also learn the value of courage, wisdom, and compassion. You have not only protected Zilura but shown what humans can truly be. That is a legacy worth celebrating. Kai looked out at the vast horizon, feeling a mixture of awe and hope. The journey that began with a single flower had grown into something extraordinary. He had faced trials, guided communities, fought challenges, and built lasting trust. And now, as the chosen one, he understood that the true power of humanity lay not in weapons or conquest, but in empathy, courage, and understanding. The twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting golden and green light across the lands. Kai held the glowing flower, its light steady and warm. He whispered softly, I will continue to protect, guide, and learn. I will honor this trust, for Zilura, for your people, and for the bond we share. Queen Viralaya placed her hand gently on his shoulder. And together, we will create a future that shines across the stars, Kai. A future where understanding, courage, and care guide every action. Kai smiled, looking over the vibrant, living world he had helped nurture. He felt a deep sense of purpose and belonging. Zilura was no longer just a planet he visited. It was a home, a world he had come to protect, guide, and inspire. As night fell and the stars of Zilura sparkled like jewels across the sky, Kai knew that this was only the beginning of a bright and lasting legacy. A single flower had started a journey, and now it had grown into an enduring bond between worlds, a bond that would echo through generations. Kai held the glowing flower high, letting its light reflect across the courtyard and the eyes of those around him. The people of Zilura watched in admiration, trust, and hope. And Kai knew that together, humans and Zilura would face the future stronger, wiser, and united.